Hi YouTube, it's Princess Diamond. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a flip over sew-in. So starting out, I'm just sectioning out about 2 inches of the front of my model's hair. So all the way across from one ear to the other, all the way across her head. And this will be her leave out. I did not leave anything out on the sides or the back, so I didn't go all the way around the perimeter of her head. However, if you're wanting to wear your style up mostly, then you would want to leave the hair out all the way around the perimeter of the head. And then I'm just braiding down the front, or the section that I'm going to leave out, but I'm braiding it down just to keep it out of the way while I do the braid down for the rest of the head and the sew-in part. So I'm starting the braid pattern for the sew-in with doing a very small anchor braid, and that's going to go all the way across the top, the sides, across the nape, and it's kind of going to connect. You guys will see a little later on, but pretty much I am braiding this around the entire perimeter, but also making sure to keep it very small and trying to keep it flat. I think it's important that the anchor braid is super flat, especially the braid that you're doing in the front. So then the rest of the braids are just going straight down and connecting like so. The hair that I'm using for this install today is from Eayon hair. I'm using 3 packs of their water curly hair that is 20 inches, and this is 100% human hair. This is what the hair looks like, what the curls look like. You can see that it's very tight curls, so it's a very natural look. It doesn't look like a lot of hair in each pack. Like, the wefts are not extremely long. However, once it's installed and the hair is separated and everything, the hair is actually really full. So I did end up using all 3 packs of this hair. We got a really good, nice, full look. I'm starting out with sewing her tracks in like a U shape. So my first track is kind of going a little bit above her ear, and then following that anchor braid. I did not cut any of the tracks. During this time, I'm just flipping them over and sewing, going back and forth, again following that U shape. And like I said before, the tracks were not super long to me, so I didn't want to run out of hair. So I did begin to kind of space these out, especially towards the beginning, like in the back. However, towards the front, I did sew these in a lot closer together. And then once I was done and still had hair left over, I did go back in this back section area and fill in some of the gaps that I had with the hair that I had left. So when I got to the top, I did start then sewing the wefts, again really close together, just making sure that the overall look on the top was full. And shortly after this section, I did start sewing in a more narrow rectangle shape. So like after about here, I would say, instead of curving it up like making the U shape, I would just keep going left to right, to get more of a narrow rectangle shape. So right now you can see I went all the way to the top anchor braid, but in this section right here, you can see I'm sewing going to the left. So what I'll do is stop about right here, flip it over, and then sew going to the right instead of curving it up to make the U shape. So once it's a nice narrow rectangle, then I kind of switch the direction of the tracks, and now I'm just sewing it going this way and doing the same thing. I'm still not cutting, well, I'm not cutting the wefts aside from, like, I'll braid it to the anchor braid and then I will flip it over and I'll braid it, or I will sew it going back down, and then once I kind of get it back to where that track stops, then I'll cut it. So this is the only sections that I'm cutting the wefts. And you'll see where I cut it. So right there, once I connect it with where the other track is, that's when I will cut it. And then I'll kind of do the same thing. And in this area, my wefts are literally touching each other. Like I'm literally sewing it right on top of each other, right next to or on top of every single braid. So I'm just continuing that same pattern, sewing back and forth until I completely close that gap. And again, my tracks or my wefts are touching when I'm sewing on this part, and then I'm just folding it over when I get to the anchor braid and sewing it back on the other direction and cutting it right when I get it back to where it kind of connects. So again, I'm going to completely close that gap. It's so important that when you're sewing on that anchor braid in the front that you want to get it really close together so that when you pull the hair back, you don't see any braid and you don't see any tracks. So that was the goal. Now, again, like I had said earlier, once I was done, I still had some hair left over. So then I was able to go back with the remainder hair and fill in the gaps of the spaces that I left pretty open because I didn't know if I was going to have enough hair or not. So I am just sewing these in, just going back and forth, doing the same thing. So this is what the hair looks like once I'm done completely sewing it in. So here's one side of the head. As you can see, the hair is super full, like I said. Here's the other side of the head. When you move it around, you shouldn't be able to see the braid that you were braiding on. And then also the hair, the leave out portion is going to fall flat over that. So that should definitely cover anything like so. So this is going to give a very natural look. With the curl pattern being like a very tight curl, I could have just wet her hair and leave it. We went with flat ironing it and giving some wand curls just in the front. So I am using a little bit of heat protectant onto her natural hair, and then I'm starting out with just flat iron her natural hair. I did go in and do a few wand curls. Now it didn't blend it exactly perfectly. We could have went in and wand curled her whole head, like all of the hair. Just didn't have enough time to do that, but that is an option. The hair did curl pretty good, so we could have done that again, or we could have just wet her natural hair. I'm pretty sure her natural hair would have curled up, so it would have matched the curl pattern pretty close and looked pretty good. But anyway, so I'm gonna show you guys what the finishing look was. So you guys can see it, the wand curls in the front there, just to give a little bounce, little curls. It's not a perfect match, but it worked for the time being. She went home. She was able to do the rest on her own. It was a pretty late night, so we had to wrap things up. But this is the finishing result. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I definitely have fun doing this, and I want to do more sewing styles, so be on the lookout for that. I definitely want to do more things like this. This was definitely fun. Love the way it turned out. This is again the flip over sewing method. If you liked it, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hair details will be down in the description below. Thank you to Eayon hair. The hair looks so pretty. So I just have her, move it around a little bit and just show that it just looks very natural. You could pull it back. Again, if we would have left some hair on the sides and back, she would have been able to actually pull it up into a ponytail, but we was fine leaving minimal leave out as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, I hope you guys be blessed, stay protected, stay filled with love and peace.